and dominating a lot of conversation is, are we going to change the Pike fiscal court system from magistrates to commissioners? Can you bring us up to date on where we are on that?
As of right now, it is still scheduled to be on the ballot. There have been more than 2,000 Pike Countyans who are registered voters sign that petition. It only required 1,200 signatures to be on the ballot. And as we've talked about before, if you look at the things that have been done, instead of focusing on using severance tax to do things like farmers markets or other types of economic development projects that would generate jobs and put people to work and create economic activity, when we've had magistrates building, cabins for caretakers to live in to oversee parks that are not even really open now, when we've seen just significant abuse of the taxpayers by overinflated insurance payments. And I filed a bill a few years ago that would have required county governments to bid their insurance. Why should the counties not be required to bid their insurance to get the best benefit for the taxpayer dollar? Instead of giving it to the same people over and over, and we know the mess that we've had where we've had buildings that don't even exist insured, vehicles that have been insured for years and never been depreciated, which results, of course, in higher premiums. Buildings that are wildly overvalued for insurance purposes, which, of course, creates larger premiums. And the question, Pat, is how did this happen? Who is responsible? Did someone benefit from this unethically or illegally? I think that is a very fair question with what we've seen. And how long has it been taking place? And last, of course, what can be done to make sure that these types of abuses of the taxpayers don't continue? But when you have the organization that was selling the insurance hosting conferences and programs and paying travel for legislators, or not legislators, but magistrates and their spouses and things like that. As a legislator, if I go to a conference, there's only so much I can be reimbursed. The state doesn't pay for me to take my wife. I mean, we know for a fact that Keiko, at least one Pike County magistrate went to a conference and Keiko paid for the spouse to go. Anybody that listens to this may have, traveling salesman, someone who travels for business. I mean, you travel a lot, Pat. If you have to travel,
they don't pay for you, B.
They don't pay for your spouse to go. No business does that, and it really sends up some really red flags when you have an organization that's selling the insurance to the county that gets the business year after year after year after year, and then we see these kind of abuses, and they're flying magistrates to conferences and paying for the magistrate's wife to travel. There's some problems there, and it really needs to be looked into. And we've talked on this program before about the road garage construction at Phelps that was clearly built in violation of Kentucky's model procurement code. Not a single bid was ever put out on a building that had probably $500,000 or more of taxpayer money put in it, and the law says if it's over $20,000, it's got to be put out for a bid. Not a single bid. Nobody got in trouble over that.
Well, you had mentioned on this show a couple of weeks ago anyway that the way you and I would do our own insurance is to shop around, and sometimes you may not want to go with the lowest because of comparing the coverage, but surely, nobody lives like that.
Well,
at least I don't think they do, because I want to save money.
This type of extravagant spending without any regard for the taxpayers has been taking place for quite some time. And the legislature at one time basically deferred to the fiscal courts about how to spend the severance tax, and we just said no more. We just said, a group of us got together and said, we're not doing this anymore. We've talked about this problem, and do I think that the Commissioner form of government is the be-all, end-all, fix it? No. But I can tell you, I don't think it could be any worse than what we've had.
Well, maybe with a smaller group, there could be more accountability. There certainly would be savings on
Well,
just
you're saving
payroll.
you're saving payroll and benefit and retirement for three people. And I mean, some people say, "Well, this is too big of a county." Well, I represent 5 counties and 115,000 people. I mean, I represent 5 whole counties. So surely we can find 3 smart, educated, talented people that could represent the people of Pike County in the fiscal court, and they could draw boundaries that would adequately make sure all parts of the county were represented. And I've talked on this program before. My dad lives at Phelps, my sister's at Dorton, my mom's at Virgie, I'm on Island Creek. I've got family at Shelby Gap, Dorton, 3 Mile. That's predominantly where my family's from, of course. Virgie, Long Fork. I mean, we can make sure that the county, residents are all adequately represented. I can tell you right now, if you look at the service that we've had on Island Creek, it's been pretty abysmal. And and I know things happen, and I know every problem can't be addressed, that resources are limited. But, when you have people pretty much worried more about themselves and their benefits and their pay than they are the people they represent, that's a problem.